West Pokot's missing deputy governor. West Pokot Governor John Alnyangapuo now wants Parliament to investigate his deputy, Nicholas Atadanyang, over prolonged absence from duty. He is also the county health executive and has been in the US since the election in August 2017. Now, the funny thing with this particular story, Lonyangapuo said he cannot sack his deputy as he has not done anything wrong apart from being absent. Now, at this particular point in time, I would think that if you take any job, absence in itself is a key issue. Yes, he said that he's fundraising in the United States, but he wasn't employed as a deputy governor to go and fundraise. He's supposed to be in the county, not having your own practice in the United States, and your seat is empty right here. Okay, and we have another case like that right here in the county of Nairobi. We haven't had a deputy governor for quite a while. What does he say even about the post of, or the position of deputy governor in the county government structure?
You know, now for the Nairobi is different. We can't equate it to the same as West Pokot. I believe he's the one who picked the deputy governor as his running mate. And so I believe if he feels, the law says how many sessions, they are part of it. Right. If it's 8, all he needs to do is to tell the Speaker of the County Assembly that he has absconded a duty for 1 year, which means it's the same as not being in the House for this. And they write a letter. And in fact, it's very vague, by the way. So I think that's where he finds himself. But at the same time, really, in the end, he says he has brought in 150 million. So maybe it's abroad fundraising for West Pokot. Yeah, or maybe we would be talking about him and maybe he's a sick man and we don't know. Right. And so he realized, I would rather stay in the US where I am able to be going. I can do other things, but my health comes first. We might be judging something we don't know. Right. So it is for Senator Lonyangapuo, Governor Lonyangapuo, to ask his brother whether is he okay. Because this is how, you know, Kenyans, we like keeping quiet and we are going through something that we don't know. But you're familiaring, but for him maybe he realized if I stay here, then I'll be in the worst situation. Let me stay where I've been doing my medical checkups or something. Because you can't just stay for a whole year. Even if you're not the deputy governor, you'd have that consciousness. And this is somebody who has lived in the US. I believe his ethics and values are a bit different. So yeah, the thing he needs to just get from the family is if he's a man who is normal, healthy and all that, can he now write a letter of resignation to give him the opportunity to just put in a deputy governor? Right. Yeah, yeah.
And as we're looking at this particular scenario, even if they're different in terms of what's happening in Nairobi and the missing deputy governor in West Pokot, the question I'm bringing to you is now the position of deputy governor. And that even if you leave office and we don't see you for a whole year or two, functions will still continue in county government as if you're there. Do we need to relook this particular position?
In fact, I think this particular position, I don't see if it have any function at all, because a missing governor is better than a governor that is not, a deputy governor that is not there at all. We don't know when we'll get a governor for Nairobi, a deputy governor for Nairobi city government. We don't know when. But the other one, at least we are sure he's somewhere. We can communicate with him. He's not a ghost over the phone. So at least we are better with that one. But what have come out very clearly is that really county governments can run without this expense of having deputy governors. And I think Kenyans should go by that during the upcoming referendum of trying to save from wananchi, kuwapunguzia mzigo ambao waheshimiwa wamekuwa wengi kuliko raia. Now, if this position is of no value, because if it had value, then we'll have had some itches in the management of county government of Nairobi, the management of county government of West Pokot. And West Pokot is one of the county governments that are doing very well. They're doing very well in terms of management without a missing deputy governor. So I think the position of deputy governor should be considered by Kenyans in the referendum.
And also, another thing that is coming up is the relationship we have between governors and their deputies, because as they're doing their campaigns, they are bosom buddies, and they promise that they'll deliver for their respective counties. They get into the office and you realize it really wasn't what we saw on the campaign trail. Lonyangapuo asking Parliament to go and find out if everything is okay with his deputy. That might sound like a communication problem between the two, because if you're really together, you'd know what's going on. We've seen what's happening in Kiambu. We saw what happened in Nairobi. That pairing as well is also being brought into question.
Jeff, I think first, Professor Lonyangapuo needs to be honest. He doesn't need the Senate help to get the man. He knows why he chose him and why. And he says at the end of the story that he's benefiting. He's just playing games, I think, with our minds. Because he can talk to this man. Two, there is the element of personal integrity. If you give me a job that I can't do, at that level, like Honorable Elijah said, this man should have some ethical values in the environment where he stays. He should be able to say, I am unable to perform my duties as it were. Let me leave this job for somebody else. But the other thing is, the third thing is about, do we have JDs for deputy governors?
Right.
We don't.
No.
These are just positions. But the reality of this issue of deputy governor, the pickings of the deputy governors and the governors, is never about the issues on delivery in the county. It's the way we vote. I pick somebody from that block.
Right.
He will come and help me win the election. After that, they become valueless.
Right.
Sonko needed to clothe his side of politics as a fine gentleman who is able to plan as a technocrat. So he brought in a technocrat to appeal to the technocrats. Once he was done, he didn't need him. All these governors, like the governor in West Pokot, I think he was brought in because of a certain maybe clan, so that he could pull the clan vote to the main thing. It's just for pulling of votes.
Right.
And we have to be honest, like he's saying, perhaps this is one of those positions that we need to get rid of. But most importantly, if we have to retain them, because there are costs on the exchequer, we have to put a JD for them, performance things. But I think as a citizens of West Pokot, they can go to court and seek to ask this person. As a citizen, I can go to court and say, we gave you a job, you're drawing salaries, can you account for it? This is what we call public litigation for anybody else. We don't have to wait for the Senate to do it. Anybody can move and say, this person has actually, should be flagged out by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission for taking money from the public that he has not earned.
Right, right.
No,
but why is he paying?
He's going without salary.
He has no salary. So you can't...
So that also brings in another question as to how to address that.
But do we know? Do we have facts on the ground that he's not
there are
getting any
facts.
salary?
No, he doesn't because...
He rejected the salary. But anyway, there is one job for
that's
deputy
why I'm saying
governors.
he might be
Their job
unwell.
is to wait for the death of the governor so that they can take over. That is the only job that they have so far.
No, but you see, let us not...
for some of them to be arrested so that they could take over.
Let us not take it that way, because it will be wrong. Let us just say we must put in roles and responsibilities, starting from the presidency.
Yes.
Because today, that is why also we are having this cry
There's no clearly defined job description for the
even
deputies.
for the deputies. Starting from the presidency. And Parliament has to put in those roles and responsibilities. Because you are a human being. There is no way you'll tell me you can just do without. You, as a governor, you can also just write a letter to any of your CCs and say, I nominate you to be the deputy. And that is one thing I used to tell my governor, that just nominate one. In a week or two, you can give a letter for another and move on as you do things. There's no law that will question you as long as you brought in a letter saying, this is who I nominated for this week to be the deputy. Right. There's no law. But the most important thing is we must put the roles and responsibilities, because also you can't say you find that some deputies are the ones who have made the governors.
Yes.
They are clans, because that's how we vote. They are the ones who are more than even the ones of the governor. So that community right now feels a bit So let's just put in roles and
job description, the roles and
responsibilities. We
responsibilities
cannot
is
also
what is
blame the
necessary.
governors. It's because the way the law is. So what Senate should do and Parliament is bring in a law that is clear on all these things.
Right.
So that you find even in the county assemblies, you find there are some courts that have said there is no law that says you need a deputy. That the law says the County Governments Act says you need a... Those are things that people play around with,
Right.
and find now doing wrong things ethically and even by law.
Okay.
So we need a clear law.
Let's talk about the laws as well, because we might have to move on from that particular topic and talk about the Dindi Nyoro bill that was rejected in Parliament, the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Amendment Bill. Wanted, if you're found, and you should be fined not less than 1 million shillings, you shouldn't do a jail term of not less than 10 years.
Yeah.
And then when that is not passed, you sit down and wonder, okay, fine, we are saying we were talking tough on corruption. It's a one thing that's taking from all of us. Why did it not?
I contributed to the bill, and I really supported the...
You wanted it to go through. You are supporting.
Bill, yes, because, you know, currently the bill says that if you are found with corruption, you will be fined not more than 1 million.
They set a maximum, not a minimum.
Not a minimum.
Dindi Nyoro was putting a minimum.
You will be, the jail term should be not more than 10 years. And if you follow my contribution, is that some of these people have stolen from the public 700 million. If you find them not more than 1 million, what does that mean? They already have the money. They stole money. So they will not even feel any pain. And again, in a business, we invest little money, expecting more. So they will be investing by stealing more because they know the court will only need not more than 1 million.
Why did
but
they
the moment we
the
say
House,
not less than 1 million, it means now the court will have a leeway of fining you depending on how much you have stolen. If you have stolen 1 billion, then you will be fined 2 billion, so that you feel the pain, so that you go back to your investment and pay. And then this corruption will not be a business. But as far as we are finding less than the money they have stolen, then it will become a business. Because in business, I invest expecting that I'll get more than that. And again, not more than 10 years, that was what the bill was saying, a jail term, should actually be not less than 10 years.
And that's why Honorable Sankoke wondering, with all of this, we could see the motive behind this in terms of making sure people think twice before they get into corruption.
Yes.
Why would such a bill be rejected on the floor of the House, not unless we want to perpetuate corruption?
You know, I blame totally the lack of opposition. If we had opposition, they would have assisted me in pushing for this bill to go through. But now we don't have opposition. We can
Shouldn't
sit
it be
down.
easier? Now that you don't have opposition, you're all on one side. You do what's best for the country.
You know, if we are all in government, and government is the one that will be the one that will be involved in corruption. Because anyway, can you be in corruption? Can you be involved in corruption while you are in opposition? What will you corrupt? What will you steal? So if there was an opposition party that is strong enough, then it will be the one that will have assisted some members of Jubilee who feel that corruption should be fought to pass this bill. But since all of us are in government, all of us are potential candidates for corruption cases, then we'll fight it.
Madam Elachi, let me bring in on this as well, because we saw it on the floor of the House, and for most people would have thought this is a no-brainer. You can see what they're trying to do, yet it was rejected. We've had Ole Sankoke was on the floor, and it's a lack of opposition that had this not sailing through. Where do you stand on this particular issue? Because we agree there's no questions on this. Corruption is bringing us to our knees, but you don't want to fight it fully, so it seems.
But I think the bill was also not to fight corruption, because you can't come and say the way Mheshimiwa is saying. You can't say that you steal 700 million and you pay not less than 1 million. You are not fighting corruption. In fact, what you are doing, you've encouraged it so badly. Because I thought that there will be issues like it's not bailable. We don't even need to take them to court. Why? In the bill, we should be saying if we found that indeed you have taken public resources, government takes back your money, freezes your accounts, takes back the property, takes back everything. That's how we fight corruption. But we don't need any law to tell us how the fines are. No, we don't want fines again in this thing of corruption. We want a law that says it's not bailable. We will ensure we recover all the monies and proceeds that you have benefited, be it from you to your extended families. You know, and you do an audit lifestyle when you are entering what you had because you have said, and in the end, if it is beyond, we will take you back to where you started with government. Because these senior positions, we give. We say we are worth this, we are worth. And I think time has come also in the law. When I say I'm worth 200, before you agree I'm worth 200, kindly go and see the assets I've said I'm worth 200.
Right.
And bring it to the public. This is how we fight that corruption. And sure, indeed I've said this, and we don't need to fight. Your PIN number should just show the red card of yes, you have land, you have this, because KRA follows. And your accounts will say, but this one of just writing, I'm worth 200. And then you find people just saying, oh, this one was worth 200. Did you go and look at the movable and unmovable assets to know he's worth 200 or 100?
I think just before we go to Bosire, you know what Madam Elachi was bringing? I wish she was in Parliament so that we can reach that particular bill. Because, you know what was being amended was the issue of fine, which was not more than 1 million, to be not less than 1 million. And the jail term, you know, these people, they should actually stay away from the public so that they don't steal again. So if it was not more than 10 years, it means you can be jailed for only 1 month.
Year. Or one day.
Year.
1 day.
Or 1 week.
The ceilings.
Are you getting? But we wanted to say that it is not less than 10 years so that this guy can stay away from the public and public funds so that he cannot steal, because there is nothing he can steal from the jail for more than 10 years. This means that the court can, even if they wanaurumia kabisa, even if they love the guy, they'll give him a jail term of 10 years because it is not less than 10 years. So starting from 10 years to 100 years, you can be jailed because of corruption. I think this one will have deterred corruption completely. But we will have also enriched by saying it is not bailable once you are found with corruption cases. But it's not that we should not take them to court because we will find you corrupt. You know, everybody will say that you have stolen. But then the court is the one that will have to prove.
Mr. Bosire, let me bring in on this as well. We'll shout from every podium that we need to fight corruption until the bill is brought to the House, and then we see the division there.
Like they've all observed, the bill was first of all defective. The work of setting limits and lower limits is not for legislation. Legislation does what we call broader perspective, broader outlines of policy, what we need to do. Very clear-cut lines. What do we do with this kind of thing? The fines are within the court ambit. But having said that, this is not for lack of laws that we have in this country that fight corruption. We have all the statutes, all the things. It is the willingness and the enforcement. When they go before court, the court has discretion using the wider constitution and everything else to fight it. What we need, for me, I think, for me, the Honorable Ndindi might have meant well. But in the end, when I look at it, it looks like it was more one of those putting your name to a certain bill.
Right.
It's more of heroics. And if you meant to do it, you'd have consulted, get a critical mass of people before you bring this. You do, there's a lot of lobbying that you bring this thing and people, you have more input. And on a lighter touch, I think being in government, I don't know whether that means that it predisposes you to corruption.
Right.
Because when you say that opposition is the one that have enriched, it's I think about our personal kind of values, that you are like you stood out because you believe this country needs clean people. Yeah? Not because you're in government or anywhere else. It's about our country. So I think we need, the laws are there, it's just to enforce them.
Okay.
And for me, like I did mention from the beginning, corruption will have to be fought outside the normal channels of fighting, because the people who engage in corruption know to use the law. We must say, we flag this person, and do what other countries like China have done. That we find you, we put you out, we snuff the life out of you, or just restrict your life. That's what it means. It must pay. We must begin to see blood flowing or breath being snuffed out.
Okay.
Because if as long as it is, for me, this corruption, the way we keep taking people to court, it has brought in another very interesting aspect, that it's big business for lawyers. It's big business for lawyers. The lawyers are busy in court. They're opening files, and it's big business. That is what we have just done.
True. Let's move on.
Bosire, but if there is a corruption case, where do we point our fingers? It's of course the government. And if the government, it is the opposition to point those fingers. If we don't have an opposition, I'm telling you, we are risking as a country.
Okay, thanks for underscoring that again, Honorable Sankok. Quickly and finally, of course, before we get to our parting comments, the Punguza Mzigo bill, it seems like with every county assembly, it goes to yet another defeat. Yesterday, Nairobi, Nakuru rejecting this particular bill. Bosire, let me start with you very quickly as we move along the table. Is there any life to this Punguza Mzigo bill? Our court still feeling hopeful, still optimistic, but the numbers painting a different picture.
Yes, the Punguza Mzigo, the way it was, you know, it didn't take into the consideration the reality of this country. That this country, you have to latch on. Unfortunately, it's not about issues. It's about what certain pillars, political pillars feel. And this is where it lost out. It had very good tenets, but our court also needed to, like we said, for you to move something, it must have ownership of a critical mass. It is across board, so that when you move this thing, and it's unfortunate that we are not even debating it, it's just, we are rejecting, we're just adding to the number of rejections. But there are elements in it. For me, the way forward would be Punguza Mzigo, Ugatuzi, and other things. There are things that we can sift out of this and say, the way forward, the question that we need to address as a country is this one. Because it should not just be lost. Right. There are things that we can glean out of it.
From each of these
from all these initiatives.
Okay. Honorable Sankok, we've come to Nairobi, they've rejected it as well. Should we just close camp and be like, it was my effort, I did my part?
It is closed bill. It will not see the light of the day. Why? Because those you are targeting to fight are the ones you are taking the bill to. This bill is lessening the burden of Wanjiko and reducing the number of waheshimiwa wenye wamekuwa wengi kuliko raia. So what will happen? If it is go to waheshimiwa, they'll fight it. If it went to Wanjiko, of course Wanjiko will have supported because Wanjiko is overburdened. Right. But now, it have gone to the wrong place. Right. And they are bound to fight it. Right. I wish there was a way that we will have brought this question just directly to the referendum so that it goes to Wanjiko directly. But we'll try in Parliament, if there is a referendum, to insert a question of, do we really need this position, like position of the deputy governor, like position of nominated MCAs who are more than 800 nominated members of parliament. Do you really need? Is it really very important? I'm one of them, I'm a beneficiary, but you know, we should speak as Kenyans and the truth, because if it is not beneficial, then there is no need of us being even there. Even myself, I'm ready and to sacrifice my own position because of Kenyans, because we really deserve a better Kenyan, a Kenyan that is not overrepresented, a Kenyan that is represented by credibility. You know, as a representative in parliament, you have been given the sovereign power that lies with the people. It have handed over that sovereign power to the elected leaders. Now, when we have another way of topping up these positions, then they are no longer having the sovereignty of the people that is actually given to them by the people, because the sovereignty lies with the people, not with the nominating authority. So that is what, actually for me, that is what I can say. Okay. Yeah.
Madam Elachi, your take on this particular issue. Before we do our final comments very quickly and wrap up, we're here trying to punguza the mzigo, and everybody was for this and said there's so much good. But when it gets to the counties, other than Uasin Gishu, no one else wants this bill passed.
Well, you know, for us as women, we had rejected it earlier because of very many, like in Nairobi, telling us that you reduce constituencies from 17 to 2 with 4 to 5 million people. Honestly, it is like an abuse. And then you take away what the Constitution has given as a representation of the people, closer to the people, and then now you bring a representation that is very far to the people. I think that's, and then you remove all the seats of women. You say those are the ones you are punguzaring Muziko. I mean, we just said no. Yeah, as women, we have always said no on it.
Okay. Even as we get into this, of course, let's get our final comments, our parting shots as we close this particular segment of the show this morning. Madam Elachi, let's start with you. What's your parting shot this morning?
Well, I think we agreed that when we go to Kibra, for those who are let's do it in a peaceful way. Whether I'm supporting Bernard Okoth Imran or you're supporting the other one, I think the most important thing is appreciate that it is, we want to try and see whether indeed this handshake that was brought at Harambee House, can it go to the people? I think that's what we meant. And we wanted to see, can we campaign in a peaceful way without bringing a lot of conflicts within the area where Wananchi has been, they have been living peacefully. Now we want to take them into a very, very dangerous channel, and we know how Kibra is it's a hotbed of many issues. When you go and listen to the people there, they will tell you they want peace. They don't want this thing of fighting. They had stayed for 1 year, and they realized you can live together, people can pay your house rents, people can, you know. Now we want to go back again to some dangerous routes, and I want to plead to all politicians. As we go there, let us go with a matter of, let us campaign, let us have peace, and let us leave Kibra the day we leave, that they can have peace.
Okay.
Yes.
Honorable Sankok, your parting shot this morning.
Let us all be patriotic, let us love our country, let us support Kipchoge, but nonetheless, Kenya hii hatuhami ya sarakasi. I'm seeing in Standard, woman asked XMP to pay shillings 25 million for loving him. She's actually describing that she was promised 100 acres of land as a reward for her good services. Kenya hii ni tamu sana. And then, Nyani Aoni Kundule, Raila 4 MPs wanted by DCI in car tax probe. All Kenyans are corrupt, my friend.
Mr. Bosire, your parting shot, of course, as we wrap up the show this morning.
Yeah, one is to wish Kipchoge all the best. And we are all the way with him. We are 49 million pesetas with him. And two, looking at this, what we talked all about, the medical equipment thing. Honorable Sankok just mentioned something that may, just a prayer, very interesting prayer. May our thieves spare our lives and our health. Right. That's what I would say.
Okay. Let's leave it at that. Thank you so much, Ken Bosire of the People Daily. Thank you so much for your time. Madam Melachi, Speaker of Nairobi County, thank you so much for your time as well. Honorable Sankok as well, thank you so much for making time this morning. This has been your newspaper review. As always, keep those tweets coming in at K24 TV. Don't forget, you shall be sent measurements. Please get Otieno Owino.
Yes. And Kevin, I'll look for him.
Not Babu. Bob Otieno Owino.
Yeah, I know the size of Babu Owino. He's a small guy.
We take a break. We're back with Interactive. This is K24 This Morning.